Good morning, fabulous Sonder fam. I am coming to you from Denver, Colorado. My name is Maya, and I know I'm not your usual Monday morning facilitator, but I am off on winter break right now. So I thought I would maybe step in and help out some of our regular facilitators on Monday mornings so they could get a little break and get all their holiday things done. So it's so good to see you here in the chat. I know lots of folks are kind of chiming in that they're feeling a little behind. Maybe they haven't been to a social all month. Maybe they are feeling like they don't have a lot done. Hey, Nicole, you're so cute. I literally said to myself, I hope it's Maya. It is. She's in the schools too, and I know she's on break. So um, this is just your time, right? This is an hour when you can spend getting this week set up. And this might be a very different week for you, right? We've got the holidays coming up this week. We've got Christmas. We've got Hanukkah and Christmas starting on the same day, which is kind of interesting. I don't know how often that happens, but and then, kind of getting ready for the new year, getting ready for others. I saw people saying happy Festivus. So, right, the holiday for the rest of us. So, whatever you're celebrating in these next few weeks, I know that this time can be a little unsettling. So, hopefully, this gives you a little bit of a chance to get a solid foundation in for the week so you can feel like you're getting done what needs to be done, resting how you need to rest, reflecting, and moving on for this week 52, I believe we are on now, almost wrapping up the year. So just a few little housekeeping tips for you. Make sure that you set your chat to everyone, that little blue box in the chat. If it is just it has a tendency to default to host and panelist. And if that happens, the only people that see what you're writing are myself and my fabulous co-facilitator, Katie, who often joins us for the Monday mornings as well. She is back in the States. She is based in Scotland, but she is back in the States visiting family for the holidays. So we're excited to have her back on kind of sort of the same time zone, right? And she'll be with us this morning, checking out the chat, helping with that. And Karen, you're asking, why does it do that? Do the flip? It's a Zoom thing. I don't know why it does it, but I know it's super obnoxious. So just remember, especially on iPhones and iPads, it has a tendency to do that. So I know that that's just a thing, not a big deal. We'll remind you if we're like, hey, you didn't set, make sure you set your chat to everyone. A few other community guidelines. We want to make sure that this is a safe and supportive space for everyone who is here. So we just ask that you're kind and courteous to yourself and others. No promotions or spam. We respect everyone's privacy here. No hate speech or bullying. We limit those repetitive product and accessory questions. The best place for all of those product and accessory questions is going to be in our Sonder Club, in our app, because then people can pop links in. Pictures, those kinds of things. That's another thing too. Sometimes the link isn't clickable in the chat. That's another Zoom thing. I don't know what their issue is. So screenshots or taking a picture of things can be a big help if you're trying to remember what's on the slide or take a look at the at the at the link that someone puts in. And then any of those customer care inquiries, like if you need to update your credit card that's on file. I just had one of my credit cards had expired that was on file for a lot of things that I didn't realize had expired. And so I was getting all of these, like, your payment didn't go through and those kinds of things. I was like, eek. So if you need to do things like that, updating your credit card, updating your billing address, changing different kinds of things, asking questions about your journal didn't come in, or if your journal ever arrives kind of mangled. And I've seen some people in Sonder Club, sometimes they're like, I don't know what the post office does to them. But if that ever happens, it's hello@silkandsonder.com. Let them know what's going on. They will get back to you. Just keep in mind they're a Monday through Friday business. They're in Pacific time zone. So sometimes it does take a little bit, especially now through the holidays. I'm not sure what their hours are. So just a little patience here. As if you have any of those questions or issues. And then remember that these socials are a tool to help elevate your emotional health through the power of community, but you are responsible for your emotions, well-being, and decisions. So if there's ever anything that we're working on that's kind of not your jam, you don't feel like working on that section, you can work on something else. You can just kick back and listen to the music. You can do a little coloring, kind of, whatever works for you. If the music isn't your jam, you can always mute that. If I'm not your jam, you can mute me, turn on the closed captioning. We have that enabled. So you'll always have that. And I know sometimes I get to talking really fast too. So sometimes the closed captioning can be helpful as a reminder of kind of like, what we're saying, what's going on. So everybody ready to jump into this week 52. And we're still here in optimism, right? We're still working on that theme this month. It's been kind of a fun theme to think about this month. And I really appreciate the fact that a lot of folks are embracing it and understanding that it's not about ignoring the negative, right? It's not about the Pollyanna, everything's great, everything's wonderful. It's just really choosing to focus on the positive, those positive things, and then believing in the potential for a better outcome, right? Because we know life, series of ups and downs, but we can kind of take those down times and really think about a positive outcome that's coming in the future. What are some things we've learned from these down times and moving forward? And that's what true optimism really is all about, right? So for this morning, we are going to work on, this will be the last of the 4 areas for the optimism mind map. Next weekend, we're going to do a little bonus. We'll do a little bonus mind map. So keep that in mind. And we try to keep it always the 4 weekends where we do the theme mind map, just because for symmetry's sake, right? So you can kind of divide that page into 4 quadrants, and then we'll always have a little bonus. So that's what we'll be doing next weekend. Then we're going to do our rosebud thorn activity, and then we're going to dive into those pages, which are pages 52 and 53 in your journal. So a couple little cartoons I always like to use here in my socials, where the first one says, there's room for you here just as you are. So if things are going great, everything's, lovely things happening, you want to share with us, you got a promotion, you're on winter break, you're, you've got all your holiday shopping done, all those kinds of things. Share that with us. We love to celebrate. But then, like I said, life can be a series of ups and downs, and sometimes things are not going well. We have a lot of our Sonder fam that are dealing with some illnesses, either themselves or family members, job issues, things that are happening, right? You can share those with us too, right? That's part of life, and we're here to support. We're here to sympathize, empathize with you. Maybe sometimes we can give you, if we have some ideas of how we handle things. It's just always nice sometimes to hear other people say, yep, me too, like I'm dealing with that as well. And then the other one says, the way that you feel matters, and no emotion you feel is bad or unworthy. So don't let anyone tell you, oh, you shouldn't be mad about that, or you shouldn't be sad about that, or you should be over this by now, right? No one can tell us. Our emotions are just our emotions, right? And sometimes we just have to sit with them and deal with them and let them pass through. So we are here for all of that. So speaking of that, let's do our last mind map of optimism for the month. I like this, that the optimism is a skill that can be cultivated over time. So hopefully you've been working on your optimism this month and brightening your perspective, thinking about how to brighten your perspective. So we are going to consider this week, this is week 4, we are going to visualize our future, which is very appropriate, I think, for end of the month, end of the year. So what I want you to do is to think about your ideal future. Imagine that. Think about what it looks like. What does it feel like? What steps can you take today to bring you closer to that vision? So here's some ideas of things that you can do as you're thinking of this and writing and journaling this in your journal. And you don't have to use a full page. You can always kind of write this out anywhere in your journal. Somebody at the last social said they really enjoyed using the scratch pad section in the week to focus on the weekly prompt. So that's a good place for it as well. So some tips and tricks here. Maybe you want to engage your senses, right? If you were with us when we read Gretchen Rubin's book, The 5 Senses, think about, what does your ideal future, what does it sound like? What are the sounds that you're hearing? What do you smell? What does the air feel like on your skin? What do you taste? What colors do you see? The more senses you can engage, the more vivid and real your vision will become. And then also embracing your ambitions and dreams. Don't just limit yourself to practical or realistic goals. This is your ideal future. So let your imagination run wild. So what would you do if you could have anything you wanted, if you could do anything you wanted? Taking action today. So this is an important part of the exercise. So what's something you can do today to bring you closer to that vision write it down and commit to doing it. And then the most important thing is being flexible and adaptable. Your ideal future can change over time, and that's okay. Being open to new opportunities and just adjust that plan as you need to. So the way I approached this was to kind of think of things I wanted less of in my ideal future and things I wanted more of in my ideal future. So you can see I wrote things like less clutter, less scattered thoughts, less mindless scrolling, being less reactive, having less tension, and then having more white space, more focus, more intention, being more proactive, and having more release of stress, of tensions, of frustrations, all of those kinds of things, right? And I like this little quote that says, everything you can imagine is real. So I'm going to let you think a little bit about your ideal future, what you're going to write, how this goes. You don't have to do the less or more example, right? That was just how I approached it because it kind of made the most sense for me to kind of go through. I'll scroll through these slides for you to take a look. If you didn't do week 1, 2, and 3, you can take a snap of that and do those later if you want. You don't have to, right? No pressure here. You do not have to catch up, right? You can just start where you are week 4 and it will be lovely. So I'll play a little bit of music. We'll check back in and we'll keep moving along. All right. So hopefully you were able to really kind of visualize or start visualizing that ideal future. We didn't give you a ton of time to do this, so this is something sometimes that's good to just reflect on, light a little candle, make yourself a amusing beverage, and give yourself some time to just really think about this and visualize what you want. So this might be something that's good to do throughout this week or even throughout, the end of the month as you think about going into 2025, right? So thank you all for giving that a little bit of time to think about what that looks like. And then we will move on to our rosebud thorn section. Again, we do this every week where we give ourselves just a little bit of time to reflect back on this past week. What kinds of things happened, the good, the bad, and the kind of things that we're looking forward to, right? So I like to start out with the thorn, which is that thing that's a challenge, something that's frustrating, something that maybe is a little out of our control. Yeah, and this is on page 50 in your December journal. So for me, we have a very naughty kitty who decided to. This plant has been up there for like 3 years since my grandma passed away. It was my grandma's geranium, and for some reason the cat decided she needed to get up there and get into it and knocked it over and broke the pot. And the poor plant is like all over the place. I'm gonna that's on my to-do list now for today is to repot the geranium and kind of cut it up and kind of fix things up. But yeah, so that was my thorn, my naughty kitty. My bud, that's something that you're looking forward to, something that's coming up, something that is just really kind of energizing you as you look forward. So for me, I am on winter break. I work for a school district, and so I do not have to go back until the 6th. So that is exciting. Definitely looking forward to those days, trying to make sure that I use them to the best that I can. Yep. And I know Nicole is on break as well. Yeah, Karen, I'm hoping the geranium survives. I feel like they're pretty hardy. So hopefully, and maybe it will even look better because it was getting a little crazy anyway. But yeah, thank you. And the rose is something that was fun this week, something you enjoyed, something that made you smile, something that made you happy, a win, a highlight. And we have this drive-through Christmas in Color, which is like a drive-through light show. It takes about 20, 25 minutes to drive through really slow with all these other people. But the nice thing is you're with other people, but you're only with the people in your car. So I kind of enjoy, I kind of enjoy that. And we took my mom and my aunt this time, and they really enjoyed it. And it plays music. You tune in to the radio and you can hear the music. So that was definitely my rose for the week. So, Megan, her rose was an unexpected bonus from the boss. Love that. So feel free to share with us in the chat your rose, your bud, and or your thorn. I'll play a little bit of music for us to work on that, and then we'll keep moving right along. All right. Thank you for spending some time reflecting on the last week. I always think this activity is so important because we have a tendency to just, if you're like me, you're kind of rushing from next thing to next thing, and you don't really give yourself a chance to kind of look back. And it's also nice to have these every week because then when you do the monthly setup, you can, and you're doing kind of the reflections on the month, you can go back and remember from week to week what's in here. And I like to suggest if you're not sure what you did this week, right, or you want a little jog down memory lane, sometimes I look through my phone pictures, right? So that will remind me of what I did, or looking at my calendar. So remember, when we do the monthly setup, we're going to do a reflection on the month, and we will also do a reflection on the year as a whole. So if you've been with us for a while, grab those journals if you come to that setup so that you can kind of flip through and remember what was there. So thank you all so much for sharing in the chat some of those rosebuds and thorns, just really kind of illustrating those ups and downs throughout this last week. So let's move over now to our page 52 and 53 for our week 52 setup. Again, this week might look a little bit different than what you've been doing, and that's fine, right? Because that's the nice thing, right? Is this is customizable, and we do what we need and we take what we need from it. So here's an example that a couple folks had posted in Sonder Club. I thought I would share the whole page with you just to kind of, so you can kind of see. I love the very pretty, the colors. They want to feel brave, and they've got this lovely weekly to do kind of a bingo that ties in with their goals. They also have these fun little habits and activities down at the end that are specifically focused around the holidays. The one on the right, they want to feel rested and accomplished. Then they have, again, those three major goals. Not a lot of to-dos, just a few of those. And they used one of those stickers from our sticker pack. So those are always fun to use. And then they have those habits and activities. So let's start out with the how you want to feel for the week. And I always say that this is kind of your intention for the week, how you want to show up for everyone and yourself for the week. So there's lots of different words that you can use. I just love this little marshmallow snowman in the hot cocoa. I keep thinking I need to make one of those. But super cute to have there. So we have those warm winter wishes. It could be just one word that you have. You could do a word for each day of the week. You could have a quote or a phrase or a mantra, different kinds of things that you might like to use. Stickers, always a good place to use those. Excuse me, a little sneeze there. Any of those kinds of things, as you kind of think about it. Again, I kind of think of this as my intention for the week. So I'll let you think of your word, pop those in the chat. I can see folks already putting things in there like strong and restorative and jolly, all those kinds of things. I will let you work on that, and we'll check back in here in just a moment. Okay, so now that you have that word, and I saw lots of fun words in the chat, and I liked someone said they had mistyped and they wrote restive, but they meant festive. But I like the idea of maybe being festively restive or restive and festive. That's kind of a fun way to do that. Focused, centered, productive, engaged, healthy, lots of festives, jolly, joy or joyful. Love all of those. So now take that word and think about your major three goals. And again, maybe this week you're like, my goals are just to get through this and enjoy it and time with family, and that's as far as I'm going with goals. Absolutely fine, right? Making memories. Yeah, Heather, that is a great goal for this week. So different ideas of things that you can do. Maybe you want to again look back at those December intentions. If you set those back at the beginning of the month and you've kind of ignored that page, go back to page 9, look at those habits that you set for the month, page 11, see if there's anything you want to do there, setting up your goals. Use that lens of optimism as you're kind of coming up with those, creating those no goals, things that you're not going to do, things that you don't want to have happen this week. So things like no alcohol, no doom scrolling on the internet, no more than a certain amount of time on social media, no excessive spending, no takeout meals, maybe something like that. Maybe you want to look back at outstanding goals, things that you still want to kind of finish up and you want to put those in here. Maybe it's some sort of a personal challenge, a fitness challenge, a cleaning, decluttering. I know I'm still battling the decluttering monster, right? Trying to clean things up. Self-care, maybe it's a recipe, soup challenge, something like that. If you want to repurpose this, you could always maybe just have some 3 favorite quotes, some podcasts or movies or TV shows you want to watch. I love some people are saying that they want to finish up some of their crafting projects, like a cross stitch that's been sitting there for maybe 5 years. And then somebody else said, I have a cross stitch that's going on 8 years. I have lots of knitting projects I think that I would like to also finish. And Katie, or Karen is thinking about this idea of decluttering and suggestions for that. Really thinking about like lots of small steps, right? That stuff, that clutter didn't just show up all of a sudden one day. So it's probably not going to all disappear in one day. So maybe you tackle a little space, maybe you tackle a specific room, maybe you look for, kind of walk through and look for things that you can get rid of, all those small steps that you can do. And that's why some of these goals for the week are super helpful as you kind of go through and do this planning. Here's some other things that folks have done. Setting a professional, a mind, and a body goal. I know not everyone has this time off for winter break, so maybe there's some things that you need to have as goals for work. Maybe you want to just focus on this idea of attending your events, breathing, resting when you can. I liked the little picture of the lessons from winter, things to remember. We did have the solstice, so we're back on we're gaining the light again, so that's exciting, right? So I always find that as happy. Oops. And I'll actually let you just spend a little bit of time thinking about those goals, and then we'll work on those to-dos and those habits. All right. So feel free to share in the chat maybe what your goals are. And if you also have some suggestions for decluttering, I see someone is putting in there, they just start with about 10 minutes at a time. So again, those suggestions for what folks are doing with their goals as we move forward, and then we'll check back in here in just a few moments. So hopefully you've had an idea to think about what your goals are for the week. And again, sometimes it's appropriate to have goals that are more around feeling maybe less stressed or less tension, or maybe some intentional downtime, or you want to just maybe do some working. Oh, I see. Oh, Diana said that their refrigerator died, so they're forced to deal with a disorderly mess. Dumping all the food was depressing, but at least we were able to get a replacement. Oh, so frustrating, especially at this time of the year, right? So yes, I like, and someone was also saying, I think of my laundry as like doing it helps me feel like I'm actually getting something done. So like finding some of those tasks that you can do where you can really feel accomplished at the end. I always get frustrated. Sometimes there's tasks I do that you don't really see a visual um, cue or visual reward that you did something. So really kind of trying to clean things up. And again, thinking about those goals. Maybe you want to focus on one specific goal this month and you don't want, or this week, and you want to just list one thing out. You can absolutely do that, right? Again, this is totally your piece. And I see someone's looking for a new job, right? So that is totally, that's a big goal, right? That's a big, that's a lot of work, right? Finding a new job kind of is a job in and of itself. So that seems to be something that, might be appropriate to have just one. So now that you've kind of thought of these goals, we're going to think about our to-dos. And I'm going to talk about the to-dos and the habits and activities section, or the habities, as I called them when I ran the words together one time when I was talking too fast. And because sometimes they're kind of interchangeable, right? And so these to-dos, really thinking about what do you want to do for the week? What are some things? It could just be a simple to-do list, right? But I like this idea of the from Positively Present on Instagram, where they have things like make time for silliness. That could be a good to do. Fill your days with purpose, celebrate your uniqueness, accept where you are right now, let yourself feel how you feel, right? So those can be different kinds of to-dos that you might want to think about for the week. You might, if you have some very specific things that you want to get done, some people like to use the Eisenhower matrix, where you divide things up into things that are important and urgent that you do, things that are important but they're not really urgent. Maybe you decide to put those, set a different deadline or a different date for those. Maybe those are things you put into next week. Things that aren't important but they're urgent, sometimes those are kind of like the busy work of laundry and watering the plants, is the examples that are on here. Maybe you want to delegate that to someone if you have someone around the house. I will say I've tried delegating things to my cats. Clearly you see one just knocks plants over, so certainly not going to delegate the task of watering the plants to her. Or if they're not important and not urgent, maybe there are things that we can delete or we can delay until some other time. Another trick that people like to use, which I really enjoy, is the Pomodoro technique, where you can find a task that you want to work on, like maybe it's decluttering your desk, and you set a 25-minute timer and you diligently work on just that. You focus on just that. You don't let yourself get distracted for 25 minutes. The timer goes off. You take a 5-minute break, and then you can get right back to it again. Or maybe you want to pick a different task. And then for every 4 of those 25-minute and 5-minute times you have, then you can take a longer, like a 15 or 30-minute break. That works really well for me. Getting specific things done, because I'm so so easily distracted. So I don't know if you have that problem, but I'm so, and the phone is like a horrible distractor, right? So put your phone away. 25 minutes, I'm going to do this one thing and focus on that. Some people break it up into like things they want to do, to dos for themselves, their home, or their work. We have one that has health, home, and work, some different things that they want to do. Excuse me, maybe you want to repurpose this area. Maybe you want to make a bingo. Maybe you want to think more about how you want to be for the week. Maybe this ties into your feelings. So maybe you want to be kind and calm and purposeful. Yeah, Nicole says my to-do area is stickered, so lots of stickers can pop in there. Those are always fun. Then we have this weekday self-care ideas for when you have no time. So something you can do for 60 seconds, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, just kind of things that you want to pop in there for the to-dos. I also kind of, I found this really pretty little winter bucket list. Maybe there's some different things on there that you want to add in there. I like the make a cozy meal or have a holiday tea. That's always fun. I had a friend who got me some fun teas, and so I want to try some of those. I also like this things to remember during the holidays, right? So getting some movement in, asking for help, setting those realistic expectations, making some time for self-care. I saw Nathania saying, I put a winter blessings sticker on the top. So looking for glimmers during the week. That is always lovely as well. And then those habits and activities, right? Really thinking about we are what we repeatedly do. So excellence then is not an act, but a habit. So what are some things that maybe you want to do and maybe you want to try out as a habit? You want to kind of think about what this looks like. So here's some examples of things people have done. I like the jolly. They try to get jolly every day. So they have a little letter for each one of those things in there. And if they get all of them, then they have a jolly. Maybe you want to just put one thing on there. Maybe you don't want to use this section this week, right? And we have somebody who they have a little drawing and then they say, nope, right? Like they're not going to use this section. So again, a great place to use those stickers or to do some coloring or do a little doodle. People will ask, how is this section different from the monthly habit tracker, that wheel that we have? And really, these are things that are maybe more specific to the week or things you're kind of trying out to see what they look like as a habit. So the monthly habit tracker are more of those things we want to do on a daily basis. But again, you make this your own, right? You do kind of what you need. Sometimes I will even put on the habit tracker to go back and fill in my mood tracker or my habit tracker or review my intentions. I'll put that here to remind myself to go back and look at that. So you can see different things. This might be a good place if you're wanting to declutter. Maybe you can come up with some things to kind of think about for each one of these for a habit. So maybe it's things like on one line, it's clean things off the kitchen counter, and maybe another one is clean off the kitchen table, and you know, make sure the laundry is all in a basket and not on the laundry chair, right? They always talk about they have like the clean clothes are in the drawer, and then there's the clothes that like you've worn once, but they don't really need to be washed, but they're not really clean, so you don't put them back. So then they go to the chair or whatever area you're putting. So kind of thinking about maybe this is a place where you can do that. And again, here's somebody who did a lot of just fun little stickers, right? And they put those in there. So, oops. So those are some examples for the to-dos and the habits and activities. Oh, I love Stephanie says surfaces are not storage. She repeats that. I love that. And it's hard, right? Because they talk about like flat surfaces just tend to accumulate things. That's just what they do. So really focusing on don't just set that thing on the kitchen counter or on the chair that's sitting there, or the if you have like a table in the hallway or something, trying to clean those things up, right? So I'll cycle through all of these, let you work on those. Feel free to share with us what you're putting in that to-do section or in those habits and activities, and then we'll just keep moving right on. Okay, so hopefully you were able to come up with some to-dos and some habits, or you decided, you know what, I'm just gonna put some stickers in those sections and we're gonna go on. And I saw a few people saying they were gonna pick up the little jolly idea to kind of have that for the week. And I think that's a fun little idea, fun way to kind of move forward with this little area, make it a little more festive, perhaps with the colored markers and pencils and those things. So now if we move over to page 53, right, here's some examples. Again, those ones that I showed you, the examples at the beginning of page 52, here's their B side, right? Katie likes to call it her B side, right? Like the records. Sometimes you want to listen to the B side, sometimes you don't. So again, this is one of those sections that sometimes people use a lot and then sometimes they don't use it much at all. And I definitely kind of go back and forth between using it a lot and not using it much at all and just using it for doodles or notes or that kind of thing. So you can see like one person, they changed up the meal plan to daily reflections. Another person changed theirs up. They're tracking their blood glucose and soul goals that they have, kind of seeing what they put there. Putting kind of some Christmas ideas, what kinds of things that they're doing there on the shopping list, writing some different things that they're loving, making a little bingo, right? We love doing a holiday bingo. Again, it's really pretty with kind of the outlining of the areas with the colors. I think that is just super pretty to see. So again, I'm going to go kind of over all these sections on this page and play a little bit more music to let you kind of figure out what do you need from this page this week? What areas are you going to use? What kinds of things are you maybe going to ignore or pop in some stickers or just give yourself some notes? So meal plan can be used for lots of things. Obviously, you can plan your meals, you can track your meals here, but a lot of people, they already are doing that in some sort of an other app or they don't need to do that at all. So they use it for one good thing, right? So they'll keep track of the one good thing this week. Maybe they use it for a to-do list. This might be a good place for your decluttering exercise to kind of write down the different things you want to do. If you're traveling, a lot of times I find this is a good packing list where I kind of plan out what I'm going to wear or what I need each day so I don't overpack. That mind body health section, the idea is you're doing something for your mind and for your body, but again, you can kind of use this for whatever works best. I like this the little quote about "'tis the season to let go of expectations, have fun, make memories, laugh, and be merry. Your happiness is up to you." So maybe this is a how I'm going to hold on to my happiness. Maybe you want to how to love yourself, right? The idea of different kinds of things you can do about taking time for self-care, allowing yourself to slow down, stop letting people waste your time. Maybe these are some kind of ideas and things you want to pop into this little section. Here's some other things that people have done. I love the little puzzle pieces one, and they have in the middle, it says, I thrive when all the pieces come together. So maybe you want to think about what are the puzzle pieces that help you feel good about the mind and the body. Is the puzzle piece one yours, Gloria? I saw somebody say, oh, that one's mine. I love it. It's so cute. I just love, everyone's so creative in Sonder Club with the fun different things that they use for this area. Maybe you want it to be a highlight of the day. Maybe you just want to unplug for an hour. Yeah, love, yeah, the observe and not absorb, right? That's a good one too, right? Especially this time of year when maybe some people's behaviors and actions are you're just observing, right? You're not going to absorb the negative energy, those kinds of things. Shopping list, again, this can just be things you need to buy. I love the one who made it all pretty with like the flowers and the little dots, and they have the things they need to buy, but they made it in this really pretty little with the little flowers. Maybe you want it to be a quote that you want to remember. Maybe you want to write yourself a little note for the week, a little reminder to look back. Some people have used it for, they do a tarot card pull every day, and so they kind of pull that, and then they have some cool stickers that they use to kind of write that down, or an oracle card or an affirmation card, something like that you could use for this little section. Again, bingos, we do love a good bingo, or a like put it into like a little table. Daily rituals that they want to do. Again, you can use it for quotes. You can use it for a packing list. Wordle. Or maybe if you do I like to do the connections game in the New York Times. I'm not a huge fan of Wordle, but I like the connections. So maybe this is a place where you can kind of write down what some of those were, kind of a fun way to look at it. And then that I am loving section really is just things that you're loving. Maybe it's something you want to think about for the week. Maybe you want to do this midweek to, if there's something that you're loving, something you're enjoying, just lots of different ways that you can use this section. So I'm going to just cycle through these, let you take a look. Again, take what you need, work on what makes sense to you. Whatever, feel free to share in the chat if you're going to do something different with one of these sections or what you're going to put in there. And then we'll check back in and then kind of wrap things up. Oops. All right. So we are at the end of our time, believe it or not. So hopefully you've had some ideas for what to do with this section, with this page. And if you don't do anything with it and you leave it completely blank, that is absolutely fine, right? This is your journal. We are not going to come by your house and knock on the door and ask to see what you did and give you a demerit if you didn't do things how we think they should have been done, right? So this is totally, totally yours to do as you need to. So again, hugs to those of you who are still, this time of year can be joyous, but it can also be a little tough if you've lost someone and kind of their memory and making things a little makes things a little bittersweet, right? So hopefully you've got some things in place for you to feel good for this week. Thank you all so much for joining. Please share your weekly planner if you can, if you feel comfortable in the Sonder Club app. You can see we got all of these from Sonder Club family members. So we love to see what's in there, and you might see one of yours in social one day, right? So we do still have the 24/7 personalized life coach is still going strong. I know a lot of folks have been using that. Super exciting. There are a lot of discount codes for that right now if you haven't had a chance to try that out. And I will pop up, you can get $100 off your first 3 months of personalized coaching. So there's that code in there as well. So just kind of thinking about that. We've got lots of other discount codes. The Elevate Planner, which I just got mine the other day, which is very nice, and it's very good for end of year. So if you don't have that yet, you might want to think about that. You can get 30% off there. We've got lots of other socials coming up. Please check out those. I think we have the January ones might be up now. I'm not 100% sure, but they should be up soon, so you can sign up for those. Thank you all so much for being here with us. I hope you have a very happy holiday season, and I will see you again very soon. Take care, everyone.
Happy holiday. Happy holiday. Happy holiday. Happy holiday. While the merry bells keep ringing, happy holiday to you. Happy holiday. Happy holiday. It's the holiday season, and Santa Claus is coming round. The Christmas snow is white on the ground. When old Santa gets into town, he'll be coming down the chimney down. He'll be coming down the chimney down. It's the holiday season, and Santa Claus has got a toy for every good girl and good little boy. Santa's a great big bundle of joy when he's coming down the chimney down.